Chapter 303 Astonishment. Although the 5 friends of Ming Mountain were greatly surprised by Han Li's decision, they felt that his words were reasonable, and so they didn't oppose him. However, when the middle-aged woman asked Han Li about the true identity of the 2 from the Black Fiend school, she was met with a tactful refusal from Han Li. Han Li only faintly smiled and said everyone would naturally come to know this once they made their move. This caused the middle-aged woman to cease further pursuing the matter and reveal an appearance of indifference. Not long after, Qin Ping passed on Qin Yan's commands and arranged a nearby courtyard for the 5 friends of Ming Mountain. As Han Li saw them move farther away, an odd expression flashed in his eyes, and he suddenly muttered something to himself that no one else could clearly hear. At night, after everyone ate dinner, the 5 friends of Ming Mountain gathered together in the guest hall of the Clear Sound courtyard. They were preparing to move late at night as Han Li had instructed. This is baffling. I can't seem to remember. The 4th brother, a 30-year-old youth, incessantly racked his brains around with a confused appearance. 4th brother. You still don't remember? The youngest of them, the 5th sister, asked this with a mysterious smile as she lazily sat in her chair. 4th brother, you've always said that Senior Han appeared familiar and that you had seen his face somewhere. However, you haven't been able to remember when or where. This doesn't sound very convincing to your youngster sister. Did you want to have a favorable relationship with Senior Han so badly that this mistook his identity? It was clear that this young woman's words were filled with ridicule. That's very possible. After all, this senior's appearance is quite common, so it's normal for 4th brother to be familiar with him. The 2nd brother teased as he tasted some tea. However, his eyes didn't leave the middle-aged woman at his side for a moment. He was continuously looking at her still attractive appearance and continued to glance at her belly with a sense of happiness. However, this 3rd sister, the middle-aged woman, saw the 4th brother distraught appearance and couldn't help but make a scornful face with all her strength, causing him to laugh uncontrollably. His normally shrewd and profoundly strong appearance was nowhere to be found at the moment. Humph. You're all talking drivel. I'm certain I've seen him before, but it doesn't seem to have been recent. It should have been quite a few years back, else I wouldn't have forgotten about it, the youth said with unwillingness as he unhappily glared at the young woman and the tall, thin man. A few years back? 4th brother, several years ago we were bitterly cultivating and didn't leave seclusion. How could you have seen Senior Han? Could it be that you saw him when you were still wearing diapers? The middle-aged woman chuckled as she made fun of the youth. 3rd sister, you. The youth cried out angrily to the middle-aged woman with an embarrassed expression. Several years ago, 4th brother hadn't always been in secluded cultivation. Could it be you've forgotten? Before we met 5th sister, we participated in the Immortal Ascension Assembly. After the 2 to 3 month journey, we unfortunately returned with failed ambitions, but luckily, we didn't receive any serious injuries. The dark-faced old man indifferently interrupted with these words. What? Everyone participated in the Immortal Ascension Assembly? The 5th sister blinked several times and revealed a very curious expression. On the other hand, her 2nd brother and the middle-aged woman looked at each other with bitter smiles. There is nothing to say. That was the first time we truly knew the meaning of viewing the sky from the bottom of the well. The middle-aged woman sighed. What? 4th brother, at that time you said to me, Yi. The young woman turned her head with great curiosity to see what her 2nd brother was going to say about the Immortal Ascension Assembly, but she saw that he had a face filled with shock. 4th brother, what's going on? The others also saw that the youth's expression was rather queer, so they asked this with astonishment. 2nd brother, do you remember the day at the Immortal Ascension Assembly when eldest brother and 3rd sister separated from us? I was feeling gluttonous at the time and privately went to a restaurant at Jia Yuan City to sneak in a meal. The youth didn't answer the other party's suspicions and suddenly mentioned an old affair from the time. This caused the tall, thin man to feel indescribably strange. Of course I remember. At that time, although I concealed this matter for you, eldest brother still found out and fiercely rebuked you. The second brother answered with slight confusion. That's right. At the time, didn't I see a young cultivator there who I suspected wanted to participate in the Immortal Ascension Assembly? His cultivation was only of the 7th or 8th layer, so we felt that he was overestimating himself, the youth added with a bitter smile. It was too long ago. I don't remember it very clearly. Why are you talking about this? The second brother asked, hesitant. He truly did not know why his fourth brother was suddenly talking about this matter. The others also heard their puzzling words and felt greatly baffled. The young cultivator I saw that year is precisely the current Senior Han. The youth said with a dry voice, causing all those present to become dumbstruck. What? Senior Han was the young lowly cultivator? The thin, tall man jumped up from his chair with an unconvinced expression. What's this all about? Speak clearly. After recovering from astonishment, the dark-faced old man wrinkled his brow and asked this. It's like this, eldest brother. The thin, tall man hastily gave a general description of what happened that year. When the others heard this, they felt it was inconceivable. Fourth brother, are you saying Senior Han was that 7th layer chi condensation cultivator from back then? The young woman gulped her saliva as she said this. Soon after, she realized her bearing was graceless and couldn't help but blush. As the others were shocked, none of them paid attention to this minor action of hers. Is fourth brother mistaken? After all, that matter occurred over 10 years ago, and Senior Han's appearance shouldn't completely match his age. No, that person was certainly Senior Han. His appearance is exactly the same at that time. Apart from his age, his appearance is completely similar. The youth was shocked at first, but after some thoughts, he became more certain. Hearing this youth's decisive and resolute words, the others looked at each other in dismay. In a brief 10 years, this person with such low cultivation was actually able to become a foundation establishment cultivator. These people couldn't help but feel pain in their heart from this fact. For a brief moment, nobody had the thought to further speak. Enough. Regardless of whether Senior Han was the person from that year, he's currently a genuine foundation establishment cultivator, and we have to treat him as such. Don't ask him anything you shouldn't, understood? After the old man muttered to himself for a moment, he became the first to speak. I understand. The youth hesitated for a moment before sincerely replying. His expression eventually returned to normal. All right. Everyone, return to your rooms and refine chi. Be sure to make your preparations. After hearing these words, everyone gave each other a mutual glance before returning to their rooms. Immediately after, the clear sound courtyard became silent. About an hour later, the sky grew completely dark. A person suddenly walked out from a side room in the clear sound courtyard. This person opened the room door with careful secrecy and took a look in every direction. Then that person silently walked out of the small courtyard. This person took advantage of the pitch-black night to walk to the corner of some faraway place. After some hesitation flashed through her eyes, this person immediately became resolute. This person took out a small box from her bosom with some nervousness and thought to open it. Suddenly, this person heard a sigh come from behind them, causing her figure to tremble. This person almost dropped the box she held in hand from fright. This was because the voice sounded much like Han Li's. Why are you doing this? She heard an additional familiar voice, almost at the same time. It seemed to be filled with sorrow. Then this person clearly saw several individuals come out from nearby with bright moonstones in hand. Underneath the dim moonlight, they appeared to have an expression of disbelief. Why are you doing this? The dark-faced man asked with much lament. Why what? I'm only testing out a magic tool. This person's incomparably pale expression gradually returned to normal. She unexpectedly said this as if nothing had happened. Hand over whatever's in your hands and let me see what it is. From the pitch-black darkness, Han Li descended from the sky like a feather and commanded her with a normal expression. That's improper. Why do I have to let an outsider look at my magicked tool? I naturally won't. Right, fourth brother? This suspicious figure was actually the young woman among the 5 friends of Mang Mountain. At this moment, although she was trying her hardest to preserve her ordinary appearance, she firmly held the small box protectively, absolutely unwilling to let it go. Fifth sister, give that item of yours to Senior Han. The dark-faced old man grimly ordered with an ice-cold tone.